Pakistan is not in the big league. Yes, there are countries spending more than us, but look at the journey which this country has made, India has made in the last 20 years. Or from 1991 when the reforms happened. Look at the journey, Indian journey. This is the rank of the countries. The United States spent $997 billion. China $314 billion. Russia $149 billion. Germany $88.5 billion. India $86.1 billion. India is in top 5. And Pakistan spends $10.2 billion. It's 29. The position cannot be matched. However, strategic escalation in South Asia often defies rational assumption, anticipation. The challenge lies not merely in retaliating against terrorism with calibrated force, but in mastering the choreography of escalation. Choreography of escalation. So there are challenges. The efficacy of New Delhi's response will rest upon successfully meeting the challenges. Systematic dismantling of cross-border terror infrastructure, adroit harnessing of global sympathy to forestall diplomatic backlash, strategic exploitation of fissures within Pakistani polity, and the challenge lies not in retaliating against terrorism with calibrated force, but in mastering the choreography of escalation. And on this, I am joined by Lieutenant General Arun Sahni, former General Officer Commanding in Chief, Indian Army and President Information Security Council of India, and Lieutenant General Rajendra Ramarao Nimbhorkar, former Master General Ordnance, Indian Army, and in studio, Strategic Affairs Editor Aditya Raj Kaur. Let me straight away go to General Sahni. Sir, my question to you is, what is India's biggest challenge? You must have heard the breaking news, the Prime Minister saying that I gave a free play to my generals. They will decide when to take the action, how to take the action, where to take the action. This is a statement from the sources that has come out. And the meeting took place, I think, 3 or 4 hours ago, and there is a CCS, sir, tomorrow. So, my question to you is, sir, what is the Indian challenge and what are the options we have on table, sir?
Good evening, Karthike. Thank you for inviting me to your show. I think there's been a lot of water in the last 1 week that has flown since Pahalgam. Firstly, I think what happened was absolutely a ghastly act which cannot be forgiven. And I think there has to be adequate punishment given to Pakistan for being behind this proxy war. As you said, what are the options India exists? The kinetic and the non-kinetic. And in the non-kinetic, we have already seen the expelling, the Indus Water Treaty, the reciprocal action of abrogation or wanting to break away from the Shimla Accord from Pakistan. And in the kinetic domain, I think the rules of engagement have been beautifully spelled out by the Prime Minister. He has said that what requires to be done in the military sphere, I leave it to the military specialist. Of course, it would require political clearance because I think two things have to be very clear. Whatever happens, as we have seen it in the Russia-Ukraine war, Pakistan may be weaker than us as far as our capabilities in the conventional domain is there. But let me also assure you, it has the capacity to react. So I think if we do take any military action in the kinetic domain, which I will talk about just now, but there is a possibility of a reaction which might be a contact one, and that is where India needs to be prepared right across the front on all three services, looking at all aspects of what can happen in case he reacts in a particular manner. And that I'm sure the people today in the chair would be carrying out necessary wargaming, reading the signals as it exists on the ground, and be able to take an assessment. So how is the kinetic impact going to take place? It can be in two planes. It has to be firstly the standoff weapons to be utilized and utilization of contact warfare. I think the first response should be, if it has to come into the military domain, would actually happen with standoff weapons. I think we should look at military targets or multiple targets which are in such a manner that affects the deep state and the polity. Hitting these tactical targets which continues, whether it's firing across the border, looking at these launch pads, looking at these terrorist hubs which are actually temporary camps. But what is supporting this infrastructure is where we need to hit them, where it shows. The point in this standoff attack has to be this time which actually came under a little bit of controversy in Balakot, is to make sure that it has visible marks on ground and we have irrefutable evidence that this has happened, that we can't fall into the narrative which Pakistan tried to play as far as Balakot is concerned. So that will be the first stage. And then it depends on how he reacts. And today, I think the option exists that if he does react in the contact domain, which could be then attritional, well, we have areas where we have advantages on ground. I would recommend that it would be our endeavor to try and retain it within the realms of J&K. But if it does move out into the other sphere, well, we'll have to be prepared for that. I think that we can't legislate the action, and I'm sure the powers that are today in chair will be able to take necessary action to ensure that this happens in the defensive plane. And we do not lose out where our sensitivities or vulnerabilities exist. So that's how I think the whole thing would pan out.
General.
You open to questions later.
General Nimborkar, your opening comments, sir.
Yeah, about going on to the same thing as Lieutenant General Arun had said. Firstly, whatever he said, I totally ditto, because in any case, he is my professional guru. So there's no question of but however, as I said, I can only say that firstly, we are very well prepared as compared to even 2018. We subsequently added a lot of arsenal to our armed forces, all three services. Together, you know, and you already quoted CIPRI on that. Also in-house, I feel that the wherewithal, for example, the ammunition, which we always face that there may be a problem. I don't think there is any problem. So to that extent, we are totally ready. And why I say this ammunition section, I was dealing with this aspect till 2018. And I'm very confident the steps the government has taken will not be found wanting anywhere. And therefore, I think what the PM has given the message to the armed forces, I think we'll be able to carry out whatever action we take in a very befitting manner. However, now what contact points, where to go, I don't think it will be worthwhile to mention, because it would not be correct on our part to say, because there are different things, you know, and inadvertently, if we give out something, and it does happen in actuality that option is exercised, then I think it will be very poor show for the Indian Armed Forces. So therefore, I think we'll stop at that. Only we can say that, yes, we are very well prepared. I dare say that Pakistan is actually very low in the, may not be in the readiness, but as far as the equipment is concerned, and they have to depend on various other sources to get their equipment right. Having said that, we should not underestimate our enemy, but there are certain things which I cannot divulge on this platform, where we have got a big upper hand. And of course, we shouldn't cross the red line of going into the nuclear domain. It depends purely on Pakistan as to whether they want to utilize that. But suffice to say that if it does exercise that option, I can assure everyone on this show who is watching that we are not far behind. We can tackle and also be ready for the second strike.
Okay. General Sani, how difficult is it to control the escalation ladder? If you look at the exchange between Israel and Iran, there is an escalation ladder which came into operation. Even when Iran attacked the American bases in Iraq, there was an escalation ladder people understood, and the attacks and the counterattacks took place. Do you think that it will come into play between India and Pakistan, or there are a lot of ifs and buts?
Yeah, undoubtedly, I think this is in the open domain. It's been debated in a lot of forums that the escalatory continuum starts from the sub-conventional level, comes into the conventional space, moves into a deeper, I would say, where it crosses certain red lines, as was mentioned by my colleague Nimborkar himself. And then, of course, you can tread into the possibility of what they talk about, a nuclear flare-up, which we saw Russia also doing grandstanding to keep the NATO from getting involved as far as Ukraine is concerned. Let me just put it like this, that there is space that exists in the sub-conventional and the conventional continuum to be able to ensure that we don't transgress into the realm of tactical weapons or into nuclear weapons. And let me just put it as far as India's stance is concerned, which is open source information. We have said that it's a political tool. We haven't fallen into any such trap of tactical nuclear weapons, which was a story of the post Second World War, the early start of Cold War. So I think we are well placed. We have the capacity to ensure that we don't cross red lines. And I think I'm sure we did it when we were in service, and I'm sure there would have been enough wargaming done to see what are the red lines that exist as far as Pakistan are concerned. And I think we can still see the aim that has to be seen is we're not wanting to have a conventional all-out war. That is a possibility that can happen as a reaction. Our aim today is to give a befitting response to tell him that I think enough is enough. You've crossed the red line as far as the patience of Indian state and the Indian polity is concerned. And that is where I think the message goes. It depends on how he wants to react. As General Nimborkar correctly stated, I think he has handicaps. He has limitations in his conventional capability. So the response, I'm sure, would be different. And as I can see from what you have been flashing pictures of the meeting in the Prime Minister's residence, we've got the Army Chief there and we've got the CDS and, of course, the senior political apex leadership along with the NSA. So I'm sure they're looking at various options and seeing where is it and what is it that can be done to actually convey to him that we are serious, and hereafter this effort will be sustained. Every time you try and do something in our country which affects the people's polity, there will be a reaction and a befitting response. And that's where I think the story has to be a sustained capability to give him, punish him again and again and again in case he does not learn the lesson after this current case of engagement.
Before I go to Aditya sir, I was a rookie reporter when Operation Parakram took place. Operation Sarvinash was conducted. I have covered it, but one thing which General Nimborkar, I want to ask you is, do we have an element of surprise here, sir, right now? Uri had an element of surprise, Balakot has an element of surprise. Do we have an element of surprise? And secondly, there is no mobilization. Any person who has spent life in army or has spent his life studying army, they would understand what a strike corps is. They would understand what a mobilization is. They would understand which bases get active. They know when the mobilization takes place. No such thing is visible, sir.
Actually, I think it's a very good question which you ask. You say surprise has to be created. So what happened in Uri and Balakot, they were, incidental event surprises. Now, as far as we are concerned, in this case, along with the surprise, a deception has to be created. And there are a number of ways of doing this. And I'm sure there are the professional armed forces, and they would have thought over it. There are a number of ways to achieve surprise, and we'll not go into that. But suffice to say, and I can say with confidence, yes, we can achieve a surprise. And by whatever we are wargaming, whatever options we have, that of course will be taken care of. Of course, if we have to go across the line for you and the balloon to go up, then of course this aspect of surprise will be taken care of, and I think we are capable of achieving it.
Saying that we are capable of achieving. Aditya, what are you picking from the government? You cover the government, you are the national security editor here. What's your assessment? You meet people every day who are actually part and parcel of the security and intelligence infrastructure. What's your assessment, and how is it? Is it same as 14 and 19? Does it feel different? What can you put on table without violating the guidelines?
That's what, on a lighter note, I'm really scratching to, see what should I reveal and what should I not. But one thing that I will say, the difference here is the kind of support internationally that India has right now. At that time also there were countries condemning terror, but there were countries running after India to mediate, especially United States, especially UK, especially of course Saudi, UAE and others. Iran and Saudi have come out this time as well. But this time around, the mood, especially in the United States and Israel, is completely different. They are backing us. I can confirm their intelligence, their agencies are directly in contact with us. I would also tell you that the Israeli ambassador met Jaishankar. He got briefed on the entire episode, and from there he directly met the defense secretary. I don't need to say further than this. So I believe that international support is critical here. I also feel that times are very different from what we saw in 2016 and 2019. there seems to be some kind of a confidence that the Indian agencies are also noticed in Pakistan, and that confidence in Pakistan cannot be seen in isolation. Either there is a bigger game plan here, or there is some iron brother of Pakistan, behind this, or trying to help Pakistan, at least when it comes to defense, infrastructure, finances, etc. So at this moment, I one thing firmly believe, that nothing would be done in haste. In Balakot, one of the big lessons for the government was that, I won't say that they've acted in haste, but I think the overall preparedness and the coordination wasn't such. And unfortunately, we had that incident of a helicopter in Budgam. And thereafter, we of course had the Abhinandan incident, but that was a dogfight. So this time around, they don't want to work in haste, but give a very well calibrated, limited strike, I would say, maybe on multiple fronts, I don't know, and then see how things unfold. But I'm pretty sure that all military experts would say that any kind of a strike or a limited strike, or on military, civilians, etc., anybody would lead to a confrontation. But would it be a minimal, limited confrontation? And of course, the expectations are high in the public. People are discussing that anything bigger than Balakot would happen, and something that people can visually see in some extent, and the damage, etc. At that time, it wasn't visible.
So before I close my show, there are two quick questions from both of you, sir. Sir, before the Ukrainian front, people thought this is a world of special forces and surgical strikes. The tank made a comeback. The drone arrived on the battle theater, and conventional warfare took place. The conventional warfare is taking place. Even the Israelis went for a conventional warfare, Aditya. They didn't go for multiple surgical strikes. They actually, they deployed their tanks, the armored divisions were deployed, and they started going inside Gaza. Is there a lesson for India from these two right now active war theaters, sir? First to you and then to General Nimborkar.
Yeah, I think, let me just put it, I was always been a propagator, and I've written a lot in these articles, that conventional wars for a country which has two live borders and enemies sitting who are there across will always remain an option as far as we are concerned. And I think that has been reinforced. Technology will come and change the character of war. The nature of warfare doesn't change. This character of warfare is what is the acme of the Indian Army, to absorb these new technologies, use it with our legacy equipment, and be able to hone and achieve greater impact and efficiency on the battlefield. And that's where I think the acme of leadership, military leadership lies. And that's the acme of the soldier of the Indian Army, who manages to encompass this complete technology and then use it effectively along with this existing equipment. So I think conventional wars, as far as India is concerned, which is this unique country, we are the only country in the world which has two borders with both an animosity of different kinds because of historical territorial issues which still haven't been resolved. So I think conventional wars and conventional armies, as far as India is concerned, will remain. The LAC and the LOC itself proves it, that you have to man those, otherwise infiltration will take place. So I think that's where I would put it. There are always these great people, military analysts and strategists, to sit outside. Okay. But you ask any soldier, I don't think any of us ever felt that it was the end of warfare, it was the end of conventional war. Cyber will come in, now AI is coming in. You're getting infused technology, you're getting embedded technologies coming in through AR, VR, and mixed reality. All that has to be used to be able to give you that cut down on the OODA loop.
Actually, sir, the Gaza was the first war where AI was, I would say, liberally, in a liberal way, used to select targets. And in fact, it was AI which was selecting targets. Earlier, they could find 5 targets. They were finding 98 targets per day in the Gaza front. General Nimborkar, sir, I'm really running short of time. So, your closing comments, sir.
Okay. So, firstly, I agree that Indian Armed Forces are now in a stage that we already started absorbing these technologies, emerging technology, AI and disruptive technologies. We are quite, I think, ahead of Pakistan in this aspect. And I'm quite certain of it, whatever I read and whatever I know from the people. Also, a little bit of distraction, one can say. We have also, I don't know, probably on the Bangladesh border also, we'll have to see what kind of action they might take, because there have been exchanges between these two, earlier East and West. So that we'll have to keep in mind in addition to these two friends of ours in Pakistan and China. Thirdly, maybe, I mean, Aditya was comparing Israel's situation. Maybe a little bit of difference here in Israel and ours. When Israel acted against the Gazans, Gaza Strip, there were no parity. In fact, Gazans did not have air force. They went with the ground forces, and also they taken and maximum destruction they are done by the air force, not by the surface forces. So therefore, it was quite easy for them. It was an asymmetrical war kind of a thing.
Correct, sir.
And by going in different kind of surgical strike, it wouldn't have made much of a difference. There are about 790 kilometers of underground tunnels.
Sir.
Those tunnels are entire Gaza. And the tunnels are so big that you can drive a jeep through it.
Sir.
Those kind of a thing. So overall, sir will tell that it's so difficult to fight
Sir.
this kind of a warfare. And therefore, what Israel did was use their technology to great extent.
Sir.
And therefore, we have to have different things, and we have a different option, which, as we all earlier said, we will exercise.
Sir, thank you. Sir, thank you, both of you. Thank you, Aditya. I've really run short of time. I hope you could have carried out this discussion even more. But then, there has to be a handover of the baton, and the baton will be handed over to my colleague Padmaja, who would be doing in your interest. So this is all I could do on Point tonight. I'll see you at the same time tomorrow. Good night.
Beyond better, the new Tiguan R-Line. Volkswagen.
पढ़ता है, खेलता है, झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया.
I need expert performance. I need my carrier.
News 9 Corporate Badminton Championships, in collaboration with Pullela Gopichand Badminton Foundation, is here for all of you to experience the passion and network. This is a great opportunity to experience your childhood memories and also be part of a corporate event which enhances sportsman spirit in all of us. Wishing you all the best and hope to see you here.
Presenting sponsor, Srinidhi University. Kindle the light within. Venue partner, Pullela Gopichand Badminton Academy, Hyderabad.
What is to the nines? In literal terms, it's perfection. But to us, it's not just a phrase, it's an attitude. One that starts at your desk and sends a statement to the world. To the nines is about taking charge. It's a way of life where every scene, every fold, is crafted with excellence. It's timeless elegance and uncompromising quality made for the corner office. It's the ideas that inspire redefining order and elevating the tabletop. To the nines, for the leaders of today and the visionaries of tomorrow.
एंटरटेनमेंट आज दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी इंडस्ट्री में से एक है.
There's a new world coming. We could take advantage of that.
Channel your passion into purpose.
We are going to prevail. Life never stops to surprise me.
We are going to own our culture 100%.
In the age of OTT platforms, to watch or not to watch? That's the question. Because you are what you watch. It's our review, but your choice to skip it or stream it. Hello and welcome. I'm Krishna Kumar. This is Skip It, Stream It.
You have donned many hats: screenplay writer, director, producer. But who is Kiran Rao?
I am a speck and I am not even a blink in time. Your identity is always sort of defined by the men in your life.